Hello, hello. Are you able to listen my voice, everyone?
Yes, sir.
Yes, yes.
Okay, let me share my screen. Okay, is this visible?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so we will start unit 2 because unit 1 we already covered some part that is unit 1 is the environment, what is environment and what is the health, about water pollution, air pollutions, what is the different parameters, all the things. And also we have last class we have discussed about what are the relation between human and the environment, what are the effect due to the human activities on environment. So this is all about unit 1. So let's start with unit 2, that is basically a subject derived from the toxicology or pharmacology may I say. So the topic is mostly studied by the pharmacy student and the environmental science student. There are some papers is there. So here you have to know what is the health and environment, so the deteriorations and how it will be affect the health. That is the relation between dose and response. So have you ever taken drugs? Drugs means not that drugs type of drugs, that drugs mean medicines in chemical word is medicines. So whenever you fall sick or you having some headache or some something, what happen if you fall ill, so doctor prescribes some medicines. So medicines we are call a drug, and that is after taking we are being cured by this drug. So how this amount, that is paracetamol 650 also 500 mg also. So what is the dose and how what amount of dose can be effective to different people. So what is the dose, and after taking the medicine what is the response of this in against of this health effect. So let's start with that. So this is called toxicology. So introduction with of the toxicology. Introduction to toxicology. So toxicology means study of toxic substance with the what is the effect of the toxic substance to the health of the particularly humans. But actually, all should be the effect toxic substance effect for the all living organisms, not the humans. So particularly, we are studying about what is the effect on the humans only. So toxicology, what is the exact definition? Toxicology is the toxic study how the toxicant cause adverse effect on living organisms. So living organisms, not only humans but also all other organisms like animals, plants, all the things. So here there are two things are there. Toxicant. Toxicology is the study of toxicants and their effect. So this is the main toxicology. So how these toxic substance are, or indirectly may we also call as also in pollutants. So pollutants are, or the toxicants are also pollutants. So how this toxic substance or foreign substance when is goes into the body, so what is the effect. So we do not consume this toxic substance by knowingly, or somehow some people are knowing consumingly, they are knowing the toxic substance like taking alcohol, all the things. So they are also a kind of toxic substance, whatever that is not needed by our body, and that creates some hallucinations or something, that also a toxic substance. So how this toxic substance and how it will effect on the living body, that is the study is called as toxicology. Toxicant, for indirect word, that is called poison. Toxic, that means study of poison. And what is the definition of poison? A chemical capable of producing a harmful reaction in living organisms. After consuming, always it is a creating a adverse effect. So that is called as toxic or poison. So this is particularly study in our subject, but same subject is studied by pharmacology. They are studying what is the effect of these drugs or the medicines after taking uh, it in our body. So this toxic and poison and its adverse effect. The study is the toxicology. So what is the adverse effect then? Any changes which is we refer with an organism's normal functionings after consuming. So whenever someone consuming alcohol, then they behaves abnormally. So obviously that is a toxicant. So that is the effect. So what is a poison? All substances are poisons. There is none of that is a poison. Actually, this is the exact definition. Whatever we are consuming, that are poisons, and there is none that is a non-poison. That means a controversial substance. Everything is poison, and none of substance is a poison. So that means anything which is exceeds the dose that creates adverse effect, or which is called higher limit. Dose means there is a particular limit. So without when with limit cross the exit limit, then that creates adverse effect. So that term is called as dose. So the right dose differentiate between poisons and remedy. Whenever you are taking pills for your fevers, taking one or two pills morning and evening, so if you are consuming 5 4 7 8 pills, then how what happen? Obviously there is a adverse effect occurs. So exact dose, that is also, that is the differentiate between poison and remedy. So the same substance when consumed in a actual right dose, that creates that cures your body, but whenever that same substance is taken in a overdose, or that can be creates harmful effect on your body. So poison, there is no such kinds or exact definition of poisons. So this is the poison. Examples of toxicant chemicals that can harm, that is parental alcohol abuse. I already told that whenever you are consume alcohol in a lower quantity, that becomes very good for health. Doctor also prescribes very low quantity. But whenever that same quantity of alcohol is consumed in a huge quantity, that's also a very harmful to health. And also another substance, mercury in fish. Mercury, consumption of mercury or some other elements which can be heavy metals, which are also very heavy poison in our body. It can cause brain damages. Here is another example, dioxin poisoning. So these figures, the left side figures, the same person, there are two faces are there. Dioxins are some chemical substances when plastic is burned, that chemical substance is generates, that is called dioxins. Maximum when burning of some plastics or burning of some solid waste generate dioxins, and when you consume that dioxins, this type of facial scarring or cloudiness occurs. So you may age before your age. So this is the chemical effect of dioxins. The examples. Then lead paint and burger paint have brain damage, etc. But whenever you smell a paint, newly painted house, there is a paint, pleasant smell, and also it occurs from the paint, and that paint is if contain leads, then it can causes brain damages. So this is also a toxic effect or toxicant. So what amount causes harm? So this is the example. Some chemicals are good in small amount but toxic in large amount. Obviously, when consumed in less amount, it can be very good for health. But overdose or vitamin consume very much, then it is very much harmful to our body. For example, botulinum toxin. This is one amount toxicant which is creates small amount prevent wrinkles. Whenever this botulinum toxicant is used, that is Botox mainly. This is a in a cream. It is actually present in some creams of some beauty products, that is called Botox, and that create that prevent wrinkles. Whenever it faces is get wrinkles due to the old aging, it prevents that. So some many celebrities also, some particularly ladies and women, to prevent the wrinkles on their face for the aging, they can use just this amount of this botulinum toxin or Botox for like seeing beauty for beauty, only it is present in beauty product. But whenever you are using in a large quantity, it can causes paralysis and death. So there is obviously adverse effect also there and good effect also there. So dose is the main thing or the word which can differentiate between good and bad, or toxic or a non-toxic or remedy. So what is the dose? Dose refer the amount of the toxicant entering the body. Whatever amount the toxicant we are consuming, that is called dose. So dose is measured as milligram of toxicant per kilogram of the body weight. Means whenever you are talking about how much amount of the toxic substance is consumed or how much amount of the drugs you should be consumed, that is done by you have seen in doctor they are measuring your weight, and actually weight and age, these are the two parameters through which they are giving the amount or the dose. So dose is measured milligram per kilogram, that is mg per kg, that is the main units of dose. So example is 100 mg caffeine. Caffeine is a toxicant which is present obviously in coffee. So everyone having coffee or tea. Tea having some tannin and coffee having toxic substance called caffeine. So these also when you are consuming tea or coffee also in a small quantity, that is also a good and this is a mood habiter and it can be a fresh your mood. But whenever you are using regularly or in empty stomach in a huge quantity of coffee or tea, that also having a bad effect. So see here, if you are having 50 kg, then 100 mg per 50 kg is 2 mg per kg, that is your dose. If you are exceeding 2 mg per kg, then it will be causes adverse effect. Similarly, for a child, if it is only 10 kg child, then that is for 10 mg per kg is the dose of the baby child kill. So effect of amount on dose. So the increasing the amount, the chemical of same size of organism, so those will be increased. See here this figure is same amount is same, volume is same. Let is well 1 liter. First you take one pill, then second pill and third pill. If the quantity is increased, then dose will be increased because the body weight is same or the volume is same. So if you are increasing the drugs or toxic substance, the dose will increase. Effect of size. If you are using the same size with a smaller amount of the substance, then also it will dose increase. If you are giving the same toxic or consuming same substance for a small children or having low body weight or volume is less, then also dose will increase. So there are two causes of increasing dose. In first cause is amount of chemical is increased and size is remain constant. Second is size of the same amount but chemical is increased. So this is the two reason how dose is increases. Then what factor determine the dose for a toxicant causes harm? So what are the factors? Let's see what are the factors. So these are the 4 or 5 factors that determines the dose of toxicant causes harm. Whether what if you are consuming the toxic substance or drugs, then these 5 substance, the 5 parameters, they are mainly determine if it causes you harm or not. First is the concentration of toxicant, how much ml per body weight, that I already told, that is the concentration. Second is chemical properties of toxicant, whether the toxicant is heavily toxic or very dilute toxic. If you are consuming potassium cyanide, then it will be even less than 1 second to cause death. So they are very huge high poisonousness is there. So if you are consuming tea and coffee, this is also one kind of toxicant, but you are can is that it will not harm you in a long run, but also harm in a small run, but you can harm in your body for a large run. So this is the properties which can be determined whether the substance is harm you or not. Third is the number of times of exposure, frequency, how much times a day you are taking coffee or tea, that is also important, or you are taking the toxic substance. So the frequency of taking or frequency of consuming the toxicant, that is also, if someone is drinking alcohol once a time for their cup or syrup, it also contains alcohol, that is use remedy. But you are drinking alcohol daily basis in a huge quantity, then it is called a very bad for that. So similarly, the how much frequency is taking the substance, that is the important. Fourth is the length and the time of exposure, how much time or duration that can be exposed to toxicant. For example, you are exposed to a burning or some industrial pollutions for a large time. So lot of time you are exposed and inhale the gases, different gases, so that can be harmful to your body. Fifth is exposure pathway. Exposure pathway, what is that? In which way the toxic substance entering to your body. So there are different way to entering your body. For example, mouth, if you are consuming the pills or the toxic substance, it can be into or your enter into the body through the mouth or through the food. And second is through the water, you can consuming same through food, through water. And some substance, toxic substance present in gas, so through inhalation, whenever you are taking oxygen in your nose, then what happens, due to the inhalations, the toxic substance can be exposed to your body. And next is injection, if you are taking some injection, then also directly it mix with the blood, and that also causes enter into your body. So there are different pathway, we are not going to in details. These are the details can be studied in different subject. So these are the five uh, factors. First is concentration, chemical is second is chemical property, third is frequency, fourth is duration, and fifth is exposure pathway. So these five factors determines if the toxic substance or the poisons is effect and how much it effect to you. Then after consuming these poisons or toxic, then the response is the main thing, that is abnormal change in organism after consuming the substance. What are the outcomes that should be observed, that is called response. So depending on toxic, that means this depending on these five factors, the response also depends. Dose and route of exposure, how much you, if you are where you can take, if you are consuming poison through mouth, and that can take to dissolve in your blood for at least 15 minutes to 30 minutes. If your poison is directly mixed with the blood, it will less than 2 minutes or 3 minutes take to uh, reach your all body parts. So that is the way, how in which way the poison substance enter to your body, that also depends. And the response time also depends. So this response can be these three types, sorry, four types: local or systematic. Local means affect parts of the organisms. If you are take affect the poison in a particular part of the body part, that is called local effect, that does not affect throughout the body. For example, if you are having a cut in your leg or hand, then applying now antiseptic cream or having taking some pills, that can not affect your other parts, only affect the part which is actually affected by these things. So this is a local effect. Second is systematic effect, affect the whole organism irrespective of this your body part. If you are consuming that for example alcohols or all the things, then your whole body part can be affected, due to the toxic substance. Maybe different types of toxics we are consuming. So this is called local or systematic. Local means local effect, means one part of this body, and systemic means whole organisms or without respect of all the things can be affected. Reversible and irreversible. Reversible means after some periods you are again come back to your present mood after some times, and the uh, effect of this toxic substance can be neglected at that for short time or temporary. Or irreversible is whenever you taking some substance, toxic substance, that can permanently damage or permanently harm your body, that is called irreversible. Then last point is immediate or delayed. Slow poison or poison. Immediate means immediate poison, immediately affect to your body and immediately cause the response. And delayed means after taking the body this substance, the effect or response can be so after 8 hours, 10 hours, 1 day, 2 days. So for a long time, the delayed that response will be of course. So there are these three kinds of the substance sorry response changes: local or systematic, reversible, irreversible, immediate or delayed. So dose response relationship. So we already know what is dose and what is response. So dose means the amount of substance we are intaking. Response means what is the after effect of the taking substance. So there is a very much important part is that dose response relationship. If you are taking, how much amount of substance is entering into your body, and what the type of this response given. So obviously it is directly proportional. whenever you are taking more amount of dose, then the substance, the after effect, the is also respond so more. So it is not purely directly proportional, but slightly increases after some times, and strictly forward increases in for some times, and after that it will be remain constant, that is 100. That means there is no effect of these individuals for this dose at that particular dose. So this is the dose relationship, dose response relationship. So as the dose increases, percentage of individual response also increases. Obviously that is directly proportional. So all individual responses at dose of 100 kg, that is if for long period of time, for consuming daily small dose, then after some times the dose may not be affected. That is the called resistance of that particular things. And 50% effecting is the goal, is the 50% of the effective dose. Also, a glass of wine, dose response relationship we have seen. If you are consuming one glass of wine for the first time, then it will be very heavy dose and you also not tolerate this. But after taking 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, and year by year, half glass of wine is not effective to you. You have to take at least one bottle of wine full. Then also there is slightly effect. So after sometimes participant, this relationship is also increases. That means the dose is not effective. That means the response is delayed. So why does not people respond the same? Because capacity. If someone people is having a higher immunity power and some is the different immunity power, so the toxic substance also affect differently. So different individuals can show a greater or lesser response to the same toxicants. For same toxicant, all of different people, they can be affect differently due to different factors for that. What are these? These are the factors. These factors can cause a different response for the same dose. First is age, young or old age. If you are young, then it is might not be effect to you. If you are old age person, the same toxic substance can be effect directly. For example, in air pollutions, wherever we are talking air pollutions, in air pollutant, these mostly aged people or aged people are having suffering more asthma as compared to the younger people, because younger people having high immunity power. Then gender, male, female. There are also some toxic substance that differentiate between male and female. Same toxic substance can be affect differently depending upon the gender. Then third is genetic differences or different genes, because some are having resistance genes, some are having not tolerant genes. So there are different gene factors also determine the response of these same toxic substance in different uh, factors. Then nutritions. Nutrition means what is the fooding habit of a particular organisms. If the organisms which having high quality of nutritious food, eating nutritious food, so immunity power also increases and the same substance cannot affect it. But if someone is having not getting food properly and does not getting food, so same substance can be effect very largely. So whenever you are doctor advice, just eat the pills after taking foods. Most of the doctor advise some decision, because whenever after taking foods or after taking food, along with the foods of food, the toxic substance is circulate through our body with the blood and effect easily. So taking food and without taking food also present this affect this response. Then health, previous or current diseases. If you are previously having some diseases, then obviously the toxic substance and effect greatly. If it does not have any health diseases, then also that will be having high immunity power. Then exposed to other toxicant, previous or current. If you are previously exposed with some toxicant and again another toxic substance is injected to in your body or entered to the body, then what happens? It can be effect more combinedly with the toxic substance. If someone having entering one toxic substance and someone other having or exposed to two or three or more than the one toxic substance. So the higher the toxic variant, more is the complexity found in this body. So this is next term is LD50. LD50. L means lethal, D means dose. Lethal dose 50. 50 means 50%. The dose of toxicant which is deadly to the 50% of populations. So what is the amount of the toxic substance given? If the 50% of the people are affected or death, then it's called LD50 or the lethal dose 50. Let's say in here I see in clear examples there are 6 rats are there and we are giving some amount of toxic substance to them, or that is rat kill or toxic substance, let's say 5 milligram or 10 milligram. If 3 out of 6 are dead by consuming this substance, then that amount of the substance is called LD50, lethal dose 50. These are the term you have to remember. Which has the highest LD50, which is the lowest LD50? Means these are the different toxicant, name of the toxicants, and the toxicants having different kinds of this LD50 dose. Ethyl alcohol. What is ethyl alcohol? This is the alcohol the most of the peoples are consuming, because Gujarat is a dry state, so they are going for Rajasthan and Daman for consuming this kind of alcohol. So alcohol, the LD50 is 10,000 mg per liter, mg per kg, means so high. If you are consuming alcohol in small quantity, it does not harm you. So LD50 is more, that means the substance is less toxic. If LD50 is very less, then substance is highly toxic. So from the top to bottom, see the LD50 is going to less. So the toxicity also increases. This is an important parameter. If the lethal dose is more, substance is less toxic. If lethal dose is less, then having high toxic. See, salt, sodium chloride, that is 4,000, because we know over first or second slide I have already told, every substance which you are taking more than the required dose, then it causes a toxic effect. So every day you are eating sodium salt, sodium chloride or the salt, but that without salt, salt is essential for our health, but without salt is also having some effect. But if you are consuming more salt, that is excess, that will cause your health effect. You can deteriorate your health. So that is 4,000 mg per kg. So if you are consuming 1 kg of salt immediately, then you can also die. So this is also a very serious effect. Then iron, ferrous sulfate, that is 1500 mg. Morphine, morphine is 900 mg per kg. What is morphine? Morphine is one kind of drugs, or some cocaine, heroin type of things that are some people are taking, mostly opium. So you have heard that words. So many Hollywood pictures, all the things they are showing, some drugs are supplied and black marketed. So morphine is one of the kind of drugs to hallucinate. So this is also 900 mg per kg. Then mothballs, parachlorodiazobenzene, this is 500. Aspirin is 250. Aspirin, what is aspirin? Whenever you have a headache, the doctor prescribe paracetamol or aspirin. So this paracetamol and aspirin, these are also one kind of toxic substance that cures your body pain. Aspirin is mostly used for curing body pain. Paracetamol is used for curing also body pain, and paracetamol, the dose is not written, but you know what is the paracetamol dose. Previously it was 500 mg per liter, now it is 650, dolo 650. If you remember, dolo 650, that means 650 mg per kg, that is the current paracetamol LD50, and aspirin is 250. If you are taking 250 mg per paracetamol, sorry, aspirin, then all body pain you're gone. If you are consuming more than that, then there is a toxic substance can be occur. Then DDT is also 250. Cyanide, that is 10. Nicotine 1. So this is the highly toxic substance. Rattlesnake venom, texotidine, dioxin, botulinum toxin. So these are very highly, see, they're very highly toxic substance. If you enter in the body, then immediately it can cause us very serious effect in your body. Then frequency of exposure. What is the frequency of exposure? The number of times or number of glasses of wine, here for suitable your examples, taking per day or per year, that is. So time between exposure, also time between each glass of wine. This is one examples. If you are taking one glass, single one glass, then it is not maybe effect to your body. If you are taking 3 glass and immediately taking 3 glass one by one, that it is also the exposure duration, the exposure frequency is more. If you are taking 3 glass in 3 days, then there is no effect. So the duration between the taking the toxic substance, that is also more important. Then how long the exposure lasted? Once you are consuming the toxic substance or anyhow the toxic substance can be enter into your body, then how long time it can be lasted the response. So there are two kinds of response, acute and chronic. Acute and chronic are two type of response, but there are another two type of response, that is subacute and subchronic, that is intermediate between the acute and chronic. So acute response is effective within 24 hours or high dose. Whenever you are taking high dose of the toxic substance, immediately the reactions occurs in your body. That is called acute dose, immediate response. Subacute, if you are taking some substance and after 1 month the result will be so, that is the subacute. If you are continuously taking some substance and after 1 to 3 months it will be the response will be shown, that is called subchronic. And more than 3 months the effect is shown, that is called chronic. So for best examples of this subchronic is eating of junk food or the oily food. So if you are eating daily Maggi or some pizza burger like this, or eating cold drinks, that is also one kinds of subchronic dose, or that is also effect or harm. Not saying within 1 or 2 days, it can be shown 1 month, between 1 to 3 months the effect is shown. So there is no term or there is no substance called poisons. Well, whatever you are taking daily, that is when we are taking with overdose or in a high frequency, or that causes that is become the toxic substance for our body. So amount of toxicant that can build up in your body over time, that is also one of the things, can move to different organs. For example, leads, if you are consuming the leads through different points, so that can move through your blood to different body parts. If you are something are consuming lead or iron things, then might be after some days the kidney may be affected. So that is also one causes, can overwhelm to the body's ability to repair damage and remove the toxicant. Actually normally our body is designed as that, by naturally whenever we are inhaling or by some toxic substance is enter into the body, our body mechanisms already know that and they reject the toxic substance in order to save our body or save our health. But when it exceeds that dose, that it can also show adverse effect. So uh, then important term is called route or exposure, how this toxic substance enter to your body. First is called skin or dermal. If you are touch something and that through your skin the toxic substance enter. For example, if you are touch some acids or some chemicals which can immediately enter to your body and damage at the local area. So that is through skin or dermal exposure. Second is called lungs or inhalation. When the toxic substance is present in gaseous form, then through your inhalations or through the lungs, it can enter into a mix the blood. And most important is called oral or gut, that is by food or drink we are taking for in our mouth, that is called oral or gut. Whenever you are having fever, doctor has prescribed some amount of drugs that can kill in just swallowing that one, that is through oral drug. And most effective drug entering the body is directly mixing to the blood, that is called injections. When you have seriously affected your body, then what doctor prescribe injection, that means it immediately affect your body or cure yourself. Whenever you feel fever or something, if injection is prescribed, that means the injection can easily enter directly to the blood through given to the blood, and that can be response is immediately seen. So there are these four kinds of response routes, or four kind of route to enter the toxic substance to your body. So can you say which is the most worst? Which is the worst? Because directly mixing the blood, that is the worst, which is either injections or inhalation. So injections is the worst toxic substance, or directly mixing. So distributions where toxicant accumulates in our body. So if we are entering the toxic substance, so what way and how the toxic substance moves? If you are, let's examples, if you are drinking alcohol, then what is the root of this toxic substance that can be passed away and accumulate in our body? That means it can be stored. Some of the toxic substances are not uh, pass away from the body. If one consume, then it permanently store in your body. So where is the, so it can store? First is the fat muscle. In your fat, below the skin there is a fat is there. So fat, the toxic substance can be stored. Then water soluble, some substances are water soluble, diluted, and this water soluble substance and most of the substances are passed through your urine, and the kidney, the effective organ is kidney, it can be filter your blood. Then next substance is bone, because bone are made up of calcium, and some of the toxic substance they can deposited in calcium, and some are the muscle are the biomass which can be just deposited in the tissue. So these are the four kinds of the body part where the mostly toxic substances are deposited. First is fat, second is blood, third is bone, fourth is muscle. Fat soluble means it is soluble with fat, then it deposited fat. Water soluble means obviously mixed with the blood. Then not all organs are affected equally by toxic substance. Target organs. So what does it mean? Target organ means if you are having some cut in your leg, and if you are suffering pain in your leg, not in your head or hand, and if you are taking aspirin as a drug, and that drug after eating that, after some times it pass through your gut, pass through your mouth, then stomach, and after moving through your blood, and it directly effect on your pain where pain is occur, at the leg or somewhere the pain occur, not effect to all the body organ. So that is called target organ. That means some of the drugs or some of the toxic substance target particular body part. So what are the body part which can target more adverse effect? If the toxic substances target the liver, then liver will damage, because liver and kidney, these two things are mostly targeted. That's why it is in the top of the list, because liver and kidney purify your bloods and purify your toxic substance. Liver is the organism, or liver is the organ which is present in your body that removes toxicant from or pollutants or poison from your body. That is called natural poison remover of your body, that is liver. So first liver is affected, because liver is the organ, the toxic substance go to that and body try to remove it. Second is kidney. Kidney is the organ which can purify your blood. So toxic substance also refine with this, the kidney. So kidney is the second target organ. Third is the lungs. Lungs, that is directly affected by through inhalations. When the toxic substance are inhaled through your gases, through your nose and move to the lungs, then lungs are the mostly severely affected. Then neurons. Neurons means the nervous organ, the brain. So whenever you consume alcohol, first organ that is called neuron or this brain that functioning less. So that is the things. Then heart muscles, bone marrow, intestine, sperm, or if these things are organ which are mostly targeted by these poisons. Firstly these organs are affected. Then mechanism of actions, how these things or the poison that can be effect or adverse effect at the level of the most things. First, that is called molecule level. Second is cell, then organ, then organisms. Molecule level, whenever eating or the toxic substance is entering into your body, its molecule is first dissolved in our body and directly affect the blood or molecule level. Then cell level, then go to the particular organ, damage the organ. If the organ is fully damaged, then spread over your body and let last the death occurs. Toxicant can interact with different protein, lipid, DNA, RNA. All the things are directly affected by this toxic substance. Then metabolism of toxin. What do you mean by metabolism? Metabolism means the consumptions or chemical reactions that occurs within our body, that are called metabolism. So how our body breaks the toxic substance, or how this toxic substance can be mixed with the DNA, protein, or all the things. So that reactions, because whenever the toxic substance enters the body, it reacts with our body parts or body things, then it can show the effects. So what toxicant turn into? Mostly water soluble toxicants are easier to excrete, because water is mostly diluted the things. Everything, if you are dilute by water, so if you are drinking more and more water, most of the toxic substance can be diluted and excrete through your kidney as a urinal. So water, drinking water is best for dilutions of the toxic substance, and it can easily diluted and it can be removed from the body. So how fast does it occurs? It can so take hours, day, weeks, year, depending on the type of toxicants. Which type of toxicant you are inhaling? So if the toxic substance are more, LD50 is more, then it cannot be excreted. You can directly harm to your body permanently. If you are consuming less toxic substance and easily water soluble, then it can easily excrete through your body. Then half life and how long it takes for the half time to go. That means if you are consuming some toxic substance, then what is the time required to back to its normal positions? The half percent or 50% time to take to dilute or to reverse the effect, that is called half life. So this is the half life. If the toxic substance takes 10 hours and the 50%, that means 5 mg per liter remains. Initially it was 10 mg per liter, it remains in the blood, and after some times, after 4 hours of times, if it remains only 5 mg per liter and 4 mg per liter are excretes or 4 mg per liter are pass out, removed to your body through kidney or livers, then the half life is 4 hours. So this is the called half life. Risk assessment. So next come to this part, what is risk? The probability of likelihood to exposure in particular toxicant in a specific concentration or dose may cause an adverse effect, that is called risk. Because everywhere there is a chance to expose this chemical or toxicant, because there is no particular definition of poison, na? So anything you can consume more, that is toxic. So our body's mechanism is designed in such a way that all extra things can be diluted or removed automatically from our body. But we have a risk. If we know that we are, our capacity to drinking alcohol is 1 glasses, and if you are taking full 1 bottle of wine, then what happens? The body cannot tolerate it. So, taking 1 bottle of wine instead of 1 glass, that is the risk. The amount of the concentration of particular thing that can be not tolerate your body. So this, or for example, there is a burning of some plastics or some things, or air pollution is there. So if you are exposed that air pollution for a long time for your work or somehow whatever may be, so you are at risk. You are not getting proper good healthy air. Or for example, if you drinking water is not available, and if you are so thirsty, so you can drink any water. So if you are drinking some dirty water because you are thirsty, so you are at risk. So your risk means exposure, likelihood to exposures. What is the toxic substance in which way enters in your body? That is a risk which can do once enter into the body, then obviously harm your body. So there is everywhere there is risk. If whenever you are moving from your home to your daily life, so how university to any work hour, or some of people are working in factory, chemical factory, whatever may be. So everywhere there is a risk of the toxic substance or poisons can enter into your body. So this is not avoidable. You cannot avoid or cannot risk free, or cannot, you cannot say that I am free of this toxic substance. I cannot and take the toxic substance at all, because risk is everywhere. So what you can do? Risk assessment. You have to assess the risk and take the risk. The process used to estimate the likelihood to humans to adversely affected chemical, a physical condition or set of conditions. If you are having some assess the risk, able to assess the risk, then you can go that places or take some pills. For example, you know what is LD50, how much the maximum toxic substance can be and cannot cause your body harm, then you can expose at that condition. An estimate of the likelihood of exposure toxic substance, that is the thing, this is risk assessment, toxicity assessment and exposure assessment. Toxicity assessment means how much amount of substance that maximum you can tolerate, and exposure assessment means how much time you can expose the substance, time and concentration mostly. These are, if you are manage those things, that is called risk assessment. Then toxicity testing. So toxicity, what is this thing? If knowingly or unknowingly you are going to some toxic substance are enter into your body and you do not know, let's say, and some adverse effects are shown. So what you have to do? You have to go for a blood test or something. So testing is very much necessary in order to know what the kind of toxic substance enter into your body. So toxicity testing determines the hazard which a substance may present in humans. So in order to know which substance is enter into the body, and if you know what is the response of that substance, then obviously the testing, by doing the testing you can know the things. Then exposure limits are established. So during, by testing of this substance, let's say if you are consuming or some taking 5 milligram per day, then 10 milligram per day, after that 100 milligram per day. So after some times, how much a toxic substance can remain in your body if you are going to test your blood, so that you can say that no, this much is maximum we can limit. So exposure to the substance is kept the exposure limit, that is called exposure limit. So that determines the maximum limit or minimum limit through you can resist. So that is called toxicity assessment. Exposure assessment, then the evaluate the potential of exposure, means where do you encounter it. If you are inhaling some gaseous substance, then just where you are, just do not go to that place. So you have to know all these questions, how often you are encounter it. If you are working in a chemical factory, then you have to bound to go to there, and in that environment you have to live because you are paying for that. If you are earning money from that, so you have to bound. So these things also greatly affect your body. So the exposure assessment is required to know where you are encounter, how much you are encounter, and how might enter into the body. If you are working that through inhalation, so in direct mixing of blood through food. So if you are know what is the methods of indigestions, methods of entering the body, that is also very much required. Then how long it is present. If you are entering the toxic in the body, then you have to know how much time you have to remain present. Then must take into account of this possible harmful effect intoxicant many individual peoples, because same substance is different effect for different people due to the age, sex, and all these immunity powers. Different things are there. So body weight. So different people are simultaneously tested for the same substance. So let's say make given examples for whenever in the corona period of time, if you are making vaccines or some making a new kind of drugs which can be how much effective or not. So just by preparing the drugs or vaccines, you cannot say that by curing one person that is good for all persons. You have at least test for hundreds or thousands or lots many persons to say that yes, this is the very good and this amount of dose can be taken for curing of these particular things. So there's many individuals or people have to test this, gone through the risk assessment, because initially we do not know, but after some times we are knowing the assessment of risks, we may say or conclude that this much amount of substance can be given for this kind of things. So this is called risk assessment. This is very much necessary in case of in our pharmacology or medicine science. So risks is any part of these pictures. So if you take risks, then obviously there is a benefit. If you do not take risks, then there is no benefits. So obviously risk is very much required in our life, but risk management is also required. Without knowing the things, we cannot take risks. If you are taking risks without knowing the thing, then obviously adverse effects are there. Then it is your choice. That is part of the society. You must have to decision to take risks, benefits, and potential trade-off. If you are living in a society, so obviously which kind of risks you have to take and you have to assess it. Then thalidomide, that is a leprosy treatment with birth defect. This is also one kind of things. Then pesticides, mosquito abundant toxicity, sunlight, vitamin D, cancer, all the things. Every kind of drug and its medicines can be tested with the things of this. We do not take the risks for the assessment, so we not keeping the cure for that. Trade-off. What is the trade-off? Plan to reduce risks at a take advantages of the benefit of the product. That is called trade-off. That means risks, whenever risk is less and the benefit is more, that is called trade-off. If risk is more and benefit is less, then that is not trade-off. Precautionary principles. If some of the consequences of actions are unknown, but judge you have to some potential negative consequences, then avoid to that actions. If you do not know, better safe than sorry. This is the things. If we do not know what is the consequences after taking some kinds of drugs or after exposing something, better to not go with that. If you do not know, if your medicine is at home and you are do not know what is the why the medicine is used for, so better to throw that medicines. You do not take risks to take the medicines, there may be very adverse effect takes place. So that is called better safe than sorry. That means you have to away to take risks if you are aware of that. Beware of it. So this is all about this introduction, just introductions. In this classes we have just know about the dose, mainly response, and the various parameters that affect the dose and response. Then dose response relationship, then LD50, lethal load 50, then all the other things. uh, so for today this much. Next class we will go other things, that is uh, scientific study properties of toxins, chemicals, whichever we're going for, mostly toxic or not. Then associated, what are the different exposure for that. We already gone through that. That is four type of exposures. That is oral exposure, injections, all the things. Then carcinogenic, aquatic, risk assessment, environmental economy. So we cover these things in next classes. And Sunday at 8 p.m. we have classes, because yesterday we are skipping that classes. So in order to recover, we should go Sunday 8 p.m. So this is very much interesting topic. So all of you are requested to join Sunday 8 p.m. So any questions?
No, sir.
No? Is this topic interesting or not? So for today this much, Sunday 8 p.m.
Yes, a little bit.
Yes. Okay, so in your mid sem
Yes,
of
sir.
is in your mid sem up to this unit 2 will become 1 and 2, one unit 1 unit 2. So Sunday 8 p.m. you have must join for the classes, because I have designed the what are the questions up to unit 1 and 2. So we have to must finish this unit 2 before the year exam, that is the Sunday we have another classes. Okay. Okay, that's for all today. Now you can leave.
Thank you, sir.